So the last type of equation is the absolute value. And the way this one works, if you recall absolute value, let's say the absolute value of x equals 8. Well, absolute value makes everything positive. So that means x could be 8. This absolute value of 8 is just 8. It's already positive. But it can also be negative 8. Because you take a negative 8, put it in here, the absolute value of a negative made into positive. So we end up getting two solutions, two possibilities. It's kind of like with square root. Now there's two types of equations we're going to solve with this, and I want to go over both. So the first one we've actually looked at here. Sort of a guess and check is what we did here. We could try 8, we could try negative 8, and they both work because absolute value will make sure they stay positive, or if they're negative, make them positive. But let's try this a little differently, a little more systematically. So this is the type absolute value of u equals c. So when we have this u stands for some kind of expression. So we're going to get two equations we'll always solve. Always. U equals c and u equals negative c. So sure enough, if we go back to our absolute value of x equals 8, means we're going to solve the equations x equals 8 and x equals negative 8. Well, there we go. We already have our values for x, just like we did before. Now let's try something more complicated. Let's do this one. Get to that one in a little bit. So again, we're going to have two equations. This one, and then this version. And then we solve for x in both. So add 1 to both sides. Same here, add 1 to both sides. Divide by 2. And then divide by 2. And again, you want to check your answers in the original equation. So like, is 2 times 3 minus 1. Take the absolute value of that. Do you get 5? Well, sure enough, you do. You'll get absolute value of 5 is 5. That does work. Try negative 2. See what negatives do in here. So absolute value of 2 times negative 2 minus 1. Does that equal 5? Well, this is going to be the absolute value of negative 4 minus 1. Does that equal 5? Well, this will be the absolute value of negative 5 equals 5, which it absolutely does. Remember, absolute value will make a negative into a positive. So the other type of equation is going to be this. And, you know, you're going to solve it really the same way. Two versions. One of them has one side negative. And that's it. So let's say we have this. So again, we're going to have two versions. And then we can subtract x on both sides. 2x minus 1 equals 5. Here we got to distribute. I do that first. Negative x minus 5. Then we add x to both sides for this one. We can add 1 to both sides. Divide this by 2. All right. And you can check your answers. And again, they're going to check in this case. Negative 1 and 3. Now, you can get some peculiar answers here. And let's take a look at somewhere you might not get 2 answers or even any at all. So let's say we have this. Now we could clean this up a bit. We could subtract 3 from both sides. Let's do that first. And then now we break it up into 2 parts. 2x plus 1 equals 0. And just for reference, this is of the form absolute value of u equals c. We need to subtract the 3 from both sides to get this form. And then we'll get 2x plus 1 is negative 0. But negative 0 is just 0. So we're just getting the same equation. So this means we're only going to get one result. So subtract 1 from both sides. Divide both sides by 2. And so this one, and if you check it, it will work. We're only getting one solution. So that can happen. The last one I want to show you. Let's say we have this. Now, there's only one set of absolute values, so we're going to try to make this into the form absolute value of u equals c. Subtract 6 from both sides, and we'll get it. So right away, there's a problem. Absolute value is always positive. How could this be negative? It can't. So that means for this, there's no solution. The answer is the empty set. So those are the major types of problems in section 1.6. And if you have any questions, let me know.